We're working on this darling Little House of Quilts with Little Quilts project, and I've got a time-saving tip that'll have you on pins and needles. But first, I had a chance to talk recently with one of the leading quilters in the world. Let's take a look. Welcome, Harry. I am so excited to see what you brought today because it really is a surprise. We haven't gone through this, and I know that you always are so inventive.
Well, thank you. So leave the room. No, just kidding.
All right, let's just get
Actually,
into it.
today what I'm going to do is share with you some of the techniques that I like to use in my stenciling. And I like to stencil on fabric with fabric paint.
Oh, I love the stuff you've done. So
some of it's
how do we
freer
do
than
that?
others. Some of it's more structured than others.
Okay.
Okay. First, I'd like to show you the more structured technique that I use. We're going to do this little tree today because I think it's real simple and you'll be able to follow.
It's cute.
Oh, it's an old little tree, but it's my old tree. I use freezer paper a lot for my stencil because it's so easy to iron on fabric and it has good adhesion. And you can reuse the stencil several times, actually, if you're careful when you pull them off.
Okay.
So after I lay it on, and I like to trace it on, even with tracing, I like to use the water-soluble pens for tracing because then if any ink would accidentally get on your fabric, you wouldn't have to worry about whether or not it would come off.
Oh, that's a good tip.
You know, so I like to do that.
Okay.
Then after I've traced my design, then I cut it. I cut the design out with a craft knife.
Oh, okay.
Because you have good control, number one, with a.
Well, you have good control. I'd have to practice a little bit.
Well, then practice.
Okay.
And if I just, after I do it, it actually gives you two images. It gives you a positive and a negative.
Okay. So
You
if you're
know.
real careful, you can get both.
That's right.
Okay.
And you know, if you do make a mistake, you can always take a piece of tape.
Oh, well, of course.
Yeah, and tape it.
That's right.
Duh. No, you can just tape it. So then, what I like to do is take it, put it on another piece of fabric. I just lay the little tree here on a piece of fabric, take it to the ironing board,
Okay.
and just iron it. Doesn't take an awful lot of heat.
Just a little. Okay.
It just
Steam or no? Doesn't matter?
I don't use steam.
Okay.
I don't think it makes a difference.
And you make sure the shiny side is down.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's.
I've tried that before.
I'd hate to have all those people write into you and with freezer paper stuck to the bottom of their iron.
Right.
Okay, so after it's adhered to the fabric, then I like to use fabric paint.
Okay.
Now, a lot of these brands you can get at your local craft stores. You know, just read. Most of them are for fabric.
For fabric. Okay.
Some of them tell you to wait 24 hours to be permanent.
Are they oil or acrylic or?
I think they're more acrylic based because
Okay.
I wash the brushes out with water, and because of that, they often get a little skin on the top. And in order to take that skin off, now I've already taken the skin off because I didn't want to make a mess in the
On
studio.
the set, okay.
Yes, but I just cut around and then lift the skin off.
Okay. Okay. That would
same
worry
thing.
me, see, if I opened that up.
Well, it
So-
would, and because
Yeah.
they appear to have been dried out, and they're really not.
Okay. All right.
And then the same thing with the stencil brushes. Now, stencil brushes are stiff, and they have they've been cut flat so that you can, and I just kind of work it in here. Now, another thing that I do, I always like to make sure that I have paper towels around for accidents, because I'm good at accidents. But even more than that, if I have a piece of the fabric that I'm going to use,
A scrap pack.
a scrap piece, so that I can just
Practice a little bit.
practice a little bit, make sure that my brush is running right and that it's not a mess. And then basically, this is just a very simple technique. Then it allows you to be able to do some really pretty quilting within and without. You know,
Kind of a fake applique look, then, isn't it?
that's what I call it.
That's what you call it.
applique.
Okay.
Man,
Or is the word faux applique? Yes.
No,
it's fake.
It's fake applique. No, I mean, it's probably faux somewhere, somewhere in the planet. But you know, there. So you can add a lot more colors. You know, for the sake of time, I'm not going to.
Shading and things like that.
You can do a lot of shading. I have this one over here is the
reverse of that one.
This is the negative of this one.
Okay.
And I'm going to let you do the honors. You can just go ahead and peel that paper off.
I love peeling paper off.
That's why I gave you the job, and you're probably darn good at it too, aren't you?
I do. And I'll save this. I'll be very careful because you said you could reuse it.
You can reuse it.
Yes, yes. Oh, that is the funnest part. Look at that. That's beautiful. And you have done some other shading in there.
Yes, I did.
With that purple.
I added
very
some.
pretty.
I added some of the
Good
purple.
job,
in there.
Harry.
Oh, thanks. Got lucky again, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Yes. No, and so you can add
cute.
colors. You know, certainly you can do these blocks at a time, then put your blocks together. But it also gives you a good guide when you go to your long arm, when you have your quilt top put together. You know, it gives you a good guide for your quilting too. You know, you can still quilt within the leaves, veins, and whatever.
Oh, of course.
You know.
Just quilt,
clouds.
quilt.
Just have a good time. And now here's another one. Now this isn't, I haven't added a second color to it, but one more time I would just be thrilled if you would do the honors.
Oh, I would love to. Let's see how this one, now this one's going to be, oh, look at that. Yes, yes, yes. I know everybody out there is wishing they were me right now, being able to pull off the paper.
Kind of like when you have a sunburn, you know?
Yeah.
And so then you have the image of the...
That's lovely.
You have the image of a tree with
and then you could trapunto it if you wanted to.
Oh, yes, you could.
Yeah.
You could trapunto it.
And of course I would.
Of course.
Yes. Oh, that's lovely.
And you can put a lot of details in there, little knots in the trees or whatever. You know, you can take very simple motifs and do this.
And make them
very, very special.
Yeah.
I do usually let these things sit around for a couple days, and then I do iron them.
Okay.
Then I iron them. Most of all these little brands hold up very well because I have thrown them in the washer then also
and
to make sure
to
make sure that they're really set before I make a big quilt. Now I'm going to lay these out here so all your friends can see them. Now I'm going to have to go back and find a little bit of paint.
This is beautiful, just gorgeous.
Thank you. That little topiary theme I thought really fit well into, I guess, maybe my mood for the day or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I like the way you've got flowers behind flowers, and it's just beautiful.
That's the way they came. The flowers came behind the flowers.
Well,
yeah. And so we'll see what, I will use the same color, then I don't have to get a clean brush out.
okay.
Okay.
Now, how are you going to do it without making a mess on the flowers?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
That's where
Oh.
I use some of this quilters template plastic.
Okay.
You know, and I cut it in a lot of random shapes.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
A lot of different, I pick some of the shapes that are in here. I cut these different shapes. Actually, you can see this one here is the squirrel shape, from the, but that's a little more detail than I usually cut. I pick these random shapes, and another thing that I do is when I do cut this, and I usually cut these with a pair of scissors, and none of them have to be exact or anything, but I do write the word top.
So you don't get paint.
So I don't turn them upside down when I'm stenciling. Now some of them have sharper turns than others. Some of them have softer arcs, you know, bigger arcs.
So just different shapes, so you can...
They're just,
see.
And I just put several of them out.
Okay, so
one
show me how
time.
you're going to do this.
And I'm going to load up my brush and, like I said, use the same fabric, right? Okay. Use your imagination, folks. No. We're going to do this. Now I'm just going to take something like, we'll take this leaf here. And what I do...
Just sort of match the shape.
Yeah, and I'm kind of using this as a block.
So you kind of get paint on top of it and then come out.
Yeah, I move it as I'm going along.
Oh, okay.
You see, if I just want to make sure that the area that I'm protecting, I just keep protecting it, you know, and you can, of course, keep adding a lot of colors. Now I've, you know.
Oh, how fun.
you know, you just keep brushing this in here. But as you get these away, and I'll come back in here with other colors, to get a sense of what you want, you might want to just go rough around it first, you know, and then pick up.
Then get closer.
Then get closer. Then pick up some of the stencils that that fit, and you can put more detail in there.
This is so neat. I can even go back on quilts that I already have done and add this stenciling technique.
Yes,
what
you can.
Fun idea.
You absolutely can.
And I've done lullaby, so I can have one just like that.
I bet you can have a better one.
I know.
I was trying to get that one done for you. No. Fabric stencil paints they're very compatible, and you can, like, I would probably not make this whole quilt a pink quilt.
Right.
You know.
The people who have done toll painting and other kind of painting are you know, will even have more of an advantage probably, but I think I can learn this too.
Well, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, with some coaching and a lot of hard work and years of practice. No, I think you could do it very quick.
It looks really fun.
Your quilts are so beautiful. I can't imagine that they need something like this.
Well, this I got to do this on some. And
this is fun for me. This is an extension of the shapes and the colors. And sure.
Well, thank you so much again for showing us some new techniques and some fun things to do on quilts. We appreciate it so much.
I know that all of you quilters will take this and run with it.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me.
And we have a free pattern for you provided by Harry Wallner. You can find it on our website. Pins. They've been around forever. They're essential to almost any craft, and you probably spend a lot of time chasing them around, rounding them up, or bending over to get them off the floor. There are many different methods of pinning, and there are lots of pin cushions you can use. But my best pin advice is this: use a pin cushion you can wear. This will save you much time. And you only need to wear it when you're pinning or taking pins out. Let me show you how to make a quick and easy and very efficient pin cushion. First of all, we start with quilted fabric. You're going to need something to put it around your wrist. I like to use the Velcro straps. These can be covered with fabric if you're sensitive to the Velcro. You'll need to then sew the Velcro onto the back of the pin cushion and secure it. Then sew around 3 sides of the pin cushion, leaving one side open. Then you'll also need to put on the bottom of the pin cushion something so the pins don't go all the way through to your wrist. Stuff it with wool batting. The wool keeps the pins sharp, and stitch up the final seam. Then just fill it with pins. These are easy to make and also make great gifts. You can make several of them, personalize them, give them to your friends. I love getting time-saving ideas from other quilters and viewers. Please share your ideas with me, and don't get stuck picking up all of your loose pins. Make yourself a wearable pin cushion. I'm excited to show you how I'm going to finish this quilt today. This is called House of Little Quilts. And I'm first of all going to show you how I did the sky. I didn't want just a plain sky, I wanted some really interesting things in that sky, so I decided to do my designer echoing. And to begin with, you just do a line in there. You do some swirls, and don't worry about it. It's going to come out just fine. So I'll hang on there to my threads as I start, and I'll come along like this. Just put maybe a swirl in here. Do some curves, a swirl in here. Just like you would, just think of the wind. When you start back, on the inside curves, you're going to go really close to your stitching, and on the outside curve, like this is going to be an outside curve, I'm going to swing up, and then on this inside curve, where it's concave, I'm going to go really close. So far and close. And far. Now I might even echo this bottom part a little bit because I'm starting to run into where I've already stitched. So I'll come in here close and far, close and far. See how far away the stitching is there? And then I come in this area and it's nice and close, far away, nice and close. And I won't get out of that area again. There's just not enough room. So I do a little swirl, or I can come in and do a feather. I could even fill this little part in here with a feather. Reach down here to where I've already stitched. fill that in with the feather, and then go right back into the close and far, close. And you can see how the texture of that is really going to be an interesting design. Now as I get back over here, I can again echo what I've already done. Already had started filling in some of that. And when you do a swirl like that, you can also just echo your way out of it. You don't have to sew this fast, but I think that you'll find you'll just love just feeling the machine and letting it just flow with you. You want that machine to be able to just, with fingertip touch, just flow with you like this. Fill this area in. Come back, echo the bottom. That's going to get me back over into this area so I can do the top. Now on this side, it will be exactly the opposite of what the other side was. So where I was close, now I'm going to be far. And where I was far away from the previous stitching, I'll be close. So here it was close, but now I'm far. Do you see the difference? And that gives you that dimensional look that is going to really make this look fantastic. I've advanced the quilt to the little houses here, and so I have one more house that I need to stitch in the ditch and finish the roof area, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. First of all, I'm going to go around this little door, so I come down. I don't want to start right in the corner again of that little door, so I start just a little bit over, about 1/4 of an inch, do little stitches to that area. Then I take my ruler. I have an extended base on, so I have a nice base on the machine, on the bottom of the machine, and then I'm going to go into automatic 12 stitches to the inch, and I can just place my ruler 1/4 inch away from that seam and just follow that seam and come right up the side of that little door, and then I go across. And you can, when you're going across, you can just pull your machine across, or you can use your ruler again, and then right down like this. I like to use a ruler because it makes it very, very straight. Now I also want to come over to this seam, so even though I've already stitched in the ditch on this seam, I'm just going to go across and stitch in the ditch again. It's better than stopping and starting. And then again, just follow my ruler. You notice that this right hand is really just propelling the machine. I'm just like pushing the machine along. The left hand is in control of where I'm going because it's got the ruler there. And then I'll go across in this seam like that. Then decide what I'm going to do on the roof, and I think that I will do some little shells like this, just upside down shells, half circles, and they're a little bit at an angle because the roof is on at an angle there. And I'm going to get a few more as I get toward the top. I'm doing them kind of dimensional, so I put a few more. Each row is going to get a few more, and that will give it that look like it's far away. Now in these areas I have already cross-hatched on this flannel, but I wanted to add a little bit more interest in there. So I have put circles to give it some texture, and I want to show you how I go around these circles. This is simply an acrylic template, and I'm just going to start it like this. I do have the base on. It's real important that I have the base on. And then I'm going to start my machine, and I just hold my machine foot right next to that circle. I keep my fingers where the needle is. As you can see, as I go around, my fingers are close to where the foot is, but they're out of the way. They're not in any danger. As I come around like that, you can see I just completed that circle. And I'm just going to jump over here, and I'm just going to put another little one right here. All different sizes on top of that cross-hatching. Just kind of add a little bit more texture, and you can see that in the picture of the quilt. You can see how that texture shows up. So don't be afraid, even when you're finished with something, to go back and add more if you want to, just to give it a little bit more interest and make it a little bit more of creativity. Now I have one more roll on this because this is the house of little quilts with little quilts, little houses with little quilts. So I have just extended my backing and placed these little quilts on the end of the main project that I was doing. So I'm going to roll up there and show you how I'm going to finish those little quilts. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm down to this first little quilt, and I decided on this little log cabin to just put a feathered flower in the middle of each one. And to do that, I just come in like that with my swirl, and then I put feathers around it. Go around one time, and then I echo, and I make sure that I pull my echo clear out to the edge like that, and then I just go right into the next one. You don't have to stop or break your thread. I know this is a little bit harder to see on the camera, but it sure is gorgeous on this little quilt. There we go around like that, and that completes that little quilt. The next one, you can see I did bring up my thread and cut it there. There we go. The next little quilt, we're going to do a pinwheel. I'm going to start in this corner right here, and I'm just going to use my body and kind of secure my elbows to my side. And as I come around like this, we're going to come all the way around. This is going to give these stars a spinning effect. I'll just spin right into the middle, and you see how I'm just using my ankles to kind of rotate on? It's really fun to body quilt. I mean, how many people can body quilt? There we go. And I'm going to come over to this corner. I think I can follow one of these lines down, and I'll come right out here to complete my feather in the outer border. Is that too cool? You didn't even stop. I didn't even have to break my thread. Coming over like this. And I'm going to make a little heart in the middle. That will reverse my feathers for me. That's one way to reverse feathers. It's just to do a heart because it's a feather both directions. Okay, there we go. And this is just play material, so I can just come right over here, and I'm going to do this little heart border. And again, it's just little hearts. You see how I just swing into one? You have to swing that first part of your heart clear over so that that becomes half of the next heart. If you practice this on paper, I promise you will be able to do this so good it makes you cry. It is so good. You can amaze your friends with this little design. Okay, and then in this little heart, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to go on the inside of it about 1/4 of an inch like that. Just make a little teardrop just to secure the heart down, and then a teardrop on the top. And I am feathering this little heart like this all the way out. It's so cute. A little feathered heart in each one of these little blocks. And I'll follow that over here, and then I'm going to grab my ruler. And again, if I put this 1/4 inch away from where I want it to be, and then I can follow this up like this, come over, follow my seam. Don't be afraid to stitch in the same seam again. It's not a problem. And you can see how we complete this. Follow that seam up, go across, stitch in the ditch, come across, and you can see where you need to finish. Look how fast I can crosshatch that entire little 9 patch. So this was a really fun project, and let's take a look at that quilt with those little quilts hanging on that line. Thanks. Next time on Linda's Longarm Quilting, Linda Tilfolt shares some techniques for making quilted wearables. We talk about getting the best use out of your needles, and I'll show you how to load this I Spy baby quilt with irregular borders. Plus, we'll do some freehand techniques on this wall hanging. Remember, if I can do it, you can do it. See you then.